You're listening to Unfiltered with Kenny Thomas on 95.9 FM and AM 610 The Sports Animal. Your home for the NFL. Yo, Keith Smart played in the NBA.
My man.
Coached me. My man, how you doing, man? Hey, what's
man,
up?
This is a small world, man, with this young engineer over here, who is my nephew, Jeremiah Smart. So, the small world.
Man, he name dropped. I was like, what? What? I mean, I knew I liked him, but just to let you guys know, my audience, Jeremiah Smart actually works here at the station Cumulus. He's between this station and KKOB. He does a lot of different things. And if you're not familiar with the gentleman that's on the phone, his name is Keith Smart, played in Indiana, played in the NBA, coached me in the NBA with the Sacramento Kings for about 4 years, about 2001, 2005 when I was there. Keith was there from I think it was 2004. I think you were there 6 years, 7 years. Is that right?
Yeah, then I went out to Miami.
And then you won a championship with Miami, right?
Well, I left right before I came in right after they had just won their last one. Oh. And then we didn't win the next year. LeBron ended up leaving and heading back home to Cleveland.
So, hey, give a little bit of background when you were in Sacramento when I was there, man. It was a nightmare. Mm-hmm. Trust me. I had 5 coaches in 3 years.
Well, kudos to Jeff Petrie because he did everything he can possibly try to do to make sure that he had a great environment. But obviously, sometimes when the GM is trying to do the right thing, the management will get in sometimes, the ownership or stuff like that. They never really had really solid footing in with the ownership. They were great guys, but then eventually, Petrie couldn't just control it as much as he wanted to, because to get players, as you know, to come out to Sacramento and grow the program is different.
Yeah,
you try to grow it so it can have long-term success, and that sometimes is very, very difficult. But when you first start off there, you got some talent to play and compete in the West, and then eventually beat the top teams that are in the East. But the continuity is so important, and having a style and a system how you want to play is very important.
Being a head coach and an assistant coach, obviously you have to adapt to multiple things, right? But the pressures that is on a head coach is tremendous because explain to my audience how difficult it is to be a head coach and try and relate to these grown men that are making the kind of money that they're making. You know what I mean? Because they don't listen, do they?
Well, the one thing you find out is that first they're going to test you to see if you know what you know. Do you have a good understanding? How can you help them? And so the approach that I've always taken was, how can I help you get your next contract? What is it that's out there to help you get the next contract? Now, sometimes that doesn't work because the players are going to be in their own way. The same guys that you saw in college are going to be a little bit different when they're playing professional basketball because now they're grown men with a ton of income. And so that kind of changed the dynamic a little bit. But I think every player, for the most part, wants to become really, really good. And how good can he be? And then especially, as you know, if he's in a contract year and he's not playing his minutes, he's going to have some issues. He's going to have some problems there. And
I
so
say that.
You can see that happening. So that's one thing. But when you're an assistant, you're putting out fires before the fires can start burning.
Yeah.
And when you're a head coach, because your focus is on how do I win this game tonight? What must I do to win this game tonight? And so you're able to be that buffer in between. Then when you move over one seat, and that's why I do a lot of consulting with a lot of young coaches now who are coaching in the NBA. And I can see some of the records that some of the young coaches are dealing with, right now. And I try to share with them, focus on just today. That's all you got control of. Yeah. You focus on how can you get this player, this team better today and do some things that are going to be fun for the day. Because if you try to look down the road, you may be, there's a couple teams that are now 2 and 3 and 15. Yeah. And you know how those days are when the team is really, really bad. And you see no way. You have to focus on let's get better today. And that was something I learned working for Coach Nelson was to focus on let's get better today.
And
When you walk into that gym, your focus is to how do we get better today? And if we get better today, that's going to be a plus for us.
And that's Coach Don Nelson, correct?
Yeah. Correct. Coach John Nelson.
I loved him. Just to let you
guy.
know.
Yeah.
I got my guy, my host, Eric, that wants to ask you something.
Hey, Keith,
Okay,
by the way, your nephew's wonderful. What a nice, super nice kid. What a great kid, honestly. So I got to give you props on that. Family's awesome, by the way. How many people in their lives can say they hit a game-winning shot to win a national championship?
That's awesome.
How many people? Well, take us back to that shot. That has got to still stick in your mind. I mean, I would wake up if I ever did that and some mornings just go, I'm the man, and get my little peacock feathers out and walk around the room or something. Do you still kind of relive that moment at all? How much joy did that bring you?
I tell you, it was a great moment because when you look at it, and appreciate that, the question, because every kid, boy or girl, has played in their bedroom or in the house somewhere and taken a piece of paper and counted the clock down and taken a shot into a trash can. In my room, my bedroom, I had a milk crate that I cut the bottom out of, and I nailed it into my room. My mom is here now, and I nailed it to the wall. My mom, my nephew, and so I nailed it to the wall, and I would make all kinds of shots, falling out of bounds, count the clock down. And so when I got to that actual moment to be able to do that, I had done it thousands and thousands of times, never ever think that I would get to that moment. And so my son who played football at the University of Hawaii, and he jumped up and made this big time catch. And he said to me, he said, "Dad, I think I have you. When you were 23, I think I could jump higher than you," And so we joked back and forth about that. But somewhere along the line, everyone will know me or remember me by the championship moment and me having the chance to make that shot. I'm going to give you another story to that. And you can go back to the film and look at it. Coach Knight was talking to me because he had taken me out of the game because I made a pass to Daryl Thomas who passed away. And when he said, "Well, you go back in, you got 2 minutes to do something. If you haven't done anything in 2 minutes, I'm taking you out of the game. If I take you out of the game, you're probably not going to go back in."
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. Cutthroat. Cutthroat, man.
Damn, Keith.
Yeah.
That's cold.
Yeah.
So people think I was playing for a championship, but I was actually playing for my scholarship for next year.
Hey, he had to have been. Did he even say thank you or anything afterwards?
I tell you, we never talked about the game.
Really?
We never said a word about the game. 5, 6, 7 years. But I started hearing through back channels because Coach Knight wanted me to come back there and coach when I was done playing. But we never talked about the championship game. But I started hearing and seeing some little stories where he was talking about Keith Smart made some of the best plays under the pressure in that particular game. A pass. I'll look back from time to time and look at that game, and I said, "Well, what
30 seconds
right to initiate the play and not go to my left?"
Yeah.
What if I would have on the free throw line, I got the rebound, raced down the court, made a bucket. What if I don't get that rebound? They get the rebound. Yeah. So all those little things that happen. But one thing I tell you, and Kenny, you guys, if you guys are in a test, is that there's a moment when the game and everything slows down.
Oh, yeah.
We call it the zone. And you don't hear anything in that zone. You don't see things. All you see is you and the platform that you're on, the basketball, football, track, or whatever it may be, working.
Oh, yeah.
And you're in that zone for a period of time, and you don't hear anything. So all those moments, even with coaching, I'm able to lock in to where I'm trying to focus on what I'm trying to get done. And it's called selective memory. You're just focusing on just that moment. And that's what I try to teach and talk to the guys today about, focusing on just today and what you can control.
I got a question for you because I was actually saying exactly what you said earlier about when you're in that moment and you're feeling it, you're just going with the flow, and you're just going with the way the game is. It's coming to you, and things just happen. But I got a question for you. What is the NBA game like to you today compared to when you played, compared to when I played, kind of like when you were coaching, kind of like around that time, 2005-ish, and now, if that's cool.
Right. No, that's great because, one thing when I was coaching in Miami and something that Spoelstra always talked about, adapt, adjust, and play. And that's what you have to do because it's constantly changing. And it's not played how I coached it way back and then how you played it, that physical standpoint and then being able to post up. Yeah. I remember I coached at Utah Prep this past year, and I remember telling a player, and also when I coached at Arkansas, I was telling the player, I said, hey, make sure when you run the floor, get to the box. He was looking down the floor trying to figure out where's the box. Yeah. We knew that was a post-up area. Yeah. So they don't understand that now. That's something that they don't understand what you trying to teach them that and say, get to this spot right here. They know rim to rim, free throw line, 3-point line. Yeah. They don't know these other spots on the floor. If I say to you, Kenny, get to the dunker, you know exactly where to get. Yeah. Because you're going to make a play from a dunker spot. Yeah. We taught that and things like that. Now, big players, more like European, because I played in France, and I was able to do the big man's camp over there. My shortest guy in the camp, he was 6'9". I saw the syllabus, and the syllabus read, you're going to practice, you're going to do this 5-on-5s, and then you're going to go 5 against 5 with some play some games. And I'm trying to figure out who's going to play the point guard. Yeah. And you saw these European players who were 6'10", 7 foot, being able to handle the basketball and move around the floor. So that's what you see today in the NBA and in college. For the most part, that's what you see. And I always tell young players, but now, can you make open shots? That's the biggest key. Yeah. Can you make an open shot? Can you make your free throw? Jeremiah and I were watching a game last night, and we saw a kid. I won't say the school, won't say the kid. But he was shooting a free throw, and I said, come on, man. When did you realize that this shot is not going to have a chance to go in? And that's something that you would have saw right away from the summertime. Hey, the kid's talented, but when you were recruiting him, he got into your school, you would have started teaching him. But the NBA is very different now, very, very different than how we coach it, how we play in it. But you have to adjust. And I always say, can you go back and play 20 years ago and what those guys had on, how they play, how they went about it? And then you go back 40 years and no way that this group can play. Yeah. In that style. Yeah.
Keith, real quick, I hate to ask you about this, but it just kind of weighs on my mind. What were your biggest takeaways from Coach Knight? Because, the chair throwing, the times you played for him was the archetypal Coach Knight years. What are your biggest takeaways from those years? Did you take any of that coaching and instill it in your own coaching? Or did you say, man, I know exactly how I don't want to coach people? Yeah.
Yeah. That's really, really what you have to understand. First, you have to learn. I've been around and had a chance to be around some incredible coaches and some genius coaches. And Coach Knight was one of them. Don Nelson was another. Larry Brown was one. Hey. And so and Greg Popovich, you got around those guys and you saw the super way of how they approach. And for whatever reason, they all had the same mindset with how they coach. Now, they delivered it differently, but they all had an understanding of how to make the game very, very simple. And so when I was around Coach Knight and watch how he coached, I said, there's no way that perhaps some of my sons can play for him. But when I look at it and see what he was teaching, when you got beyond the yelling, the screaming, and all those things there, and some of the upper classes, which we don't have in college a whole lot, upper classes who've been through the program, have grown and grown and grown. And my teammates would tell me, hey, just focus on things getting better. You'll get used to him yelling, and then it'll sound like a sweet voice that's talking to you. So I learned how to be prepared, how to be organized, how to have a plan every single day. I took that with me. Now, what I did early was I tried to coach like Coach Knight, hard nose, grind, push, because I thought that's how every player was going to respond. Yeah. But that's not how every player responds to it. So I had to learn that coach the team with your personality, but take some of the tools that he's taught, understanding spacing, understanding game prep. Something that Coach, man, when I got into coaching, something I took from him was to, he said, make sure you organize.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a plan every single day. He said, because if you have some tough time, which you will as a coach, you'll come out of them sooner than what you are right now if you don't have a plan. But every single day. I remember being in Miami coaching, and I walked up on the floor, and Chris Bosh was sitting kind of waiting, just hanging out. And he said, Coach, what you got for me today? And I look at him, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is a Hall of Famer, a champion? I said, how can I teach him? And he said, Coach, every day you come up here on this floor, have a plan for me.
Yeah.
And so every single day I had a plan for him to go out and perform. And I think that's what I learned from him. I learned when I was here with Golden State with Don Nelson.
Yeah.
And I coached 16 games with Coach Nelson being here. But he never told me when I was going to coach the game. We in the national anthem, and he would tap me on the shoulder and say, hey, you got this one tonight. I'm going to be your assistant. And he would do that.
That's cool.
And so I'm coaching a game, and I'm coaching. I've been playing Philly, and I'm coaching a game, calling out plays and everything. And Coach Nelson pulled me on the coattail and said, at what time you going to let the boys play tonight? They don't need you right now. They're having fun. They can compete. They can play.
Yeah.
They don't need you. Now, when the game gets stagnant, that's when you start coaching. And that was huge with part of my teaching. And the same thing with Coach Knight. Everyone thinks when Coach Knight yelled and screamed, I never heard him in the tournament. I never heard him in those top games because he allowed us to play the game. And then when we got the jam, that's when he jumped in.
So Dave Bliss, I don't know if that rings a name because he might have been there in Indiana. Mm-hmm. He coached me at UNM. So that my question is it when you drop Popovich, when you drop Bobby Knight, and I think about my coach Dave Bliss, and these are some of and Larry Brown. These are military minded guys, because I'm an Army brat, and it's like that hard nose, right? West Point.
Yes.
Did you think that impacted obviously the big influence on why kids would not go, because it was hard nosed, right? And then they didn't want to go to it. But now ain't nobody going there. Nobody would ever go to a Bobby Knight situation now, especially how this game is, right?
Yeah. You're right. Because I always thought my high school coach was like that. My junior high school coach was hard nosed. Because they were raised that way.
Yeah.
Now you're recruiting in college. You're recruiting, even when I was in prep school, you're recruiting your own players for that to be able to stay for next year, because other schools are recruiting them as well. And then pretty much every guy has an agent now. So that agent is doing a job to try and look for the best opportunity for his clients. So his season may end, but he's already looking. We were in the tournament when I was at Arkansas. We're in a tournament, and we have getting ready for Duke preparation, game prep. We finished that up, and now we're looking at who are we going to be scouting in the portal. And as soon as we got knocked out of the tournament, I was on a plane heading out to D.C., which was my hub. And I worked from D.C., Philadelphia, and Jersey, and New York. Other coaches went down south to Texas and Mississippi and Alabama. Another coach came out the West Coast. So those coaches. And Dave Bliss was, he was a Bob Knight disciple. He kind of paid attention to what coach was doing and had that military. And I think that helped us compete.
Gotcha.
It helped us.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I ran the stairs so many times at IU. I go back there now because my in-laws still live in Bloomington. And I go to Assembly Hall from time to time, and I look at that place and I said, I can't believe I ran these stairs.
Man, I appreciate you coming in, man. I got one last thing, short one.
Yeah, you got.
Man, the situation with this gambling and Chauncey Billups and all that, man. Can you shed a little bit on how it's making the perspective of the NBA look right now, because it's not good?
And you're right. It's not giving the NBA a good look. I just had a conversation with a guy. He said, man, when I watch the games now, and a player, like you may be on a break, and you slip. and you just on a wet floor and you fall down. People are questioning, did he slip on purpose
Wow.
or did he slip?
Wow.
And I had this conversation the other day. I said, so people are not looking at the game. A lot of people are not looking at the game like they used to. If a guy doesn't make a shot, Jimmy Butler, who's here, he was coming from a coffee shop, and someone walked up to him and said, "You were supposed to get 30 last night. I put $3,000 on the game, and it didn't happen." I was I keep going back to college, but I was in college and I walked out on the floor, I won't say the school, and a student came next to the floor. "Coach, who's going to shoot the first shot tonight?" And I said, "What do you mean?"
Just do an outro because we don't have time.
And so it's not even a great look.
Got you. Man, thanks for coming, bro. I really appreciate you.
No, thank you, man.
Super great talking with you, Keith. I mean, an
that's
amazing
why.
career.
You gotta do this
great
again, man.
career, man. That's a fun career. You had a good ride, man. That was a fun one.
No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it and still enjoying it.
I'm going to get you back on, man. Happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks. You have a good one.
Okay, man. Take care, buddy. All right, bye-bye.